So welcome to the second part of the Wyndham Archery fitness at home videos. So again, please be kind to yourselves when you're doing these. You are responsible again for everything you do. We're just here to provide guidance for you. Please make sure that you're safe in your environment and that you feel strong enough to perform all the exercises that we go through. Again, I'll give you a few different exercises and a few variations of each of them. Have fun, but please make sure you look after yourself first and foremost. Before you go into any of the exercises that we're about to do, please make sure you do warm up to look after yourself. We did a video a few days ago. If you go and have a look at that, that will give you a broad overview of a whole body warm up that you can do, which will work for any exercises that you do. As I said, it works on the entire body. So go and have a look at that and do that first. So today we're going to work on our core. It's quite an important one that people tend to kind of miss out when they're doing workouts. So we're going to really work on our abdominal muscles and trunk around the back and hips. It's important for far more than just being strong in your core. A strong core really will help with posture and will help with any kind of back pains, even just in everyday life, standing around, that kind of thing. So we're going to start off with an exercise which we're going to call Superman. So you come up onto all fours, and all you're going to do is raise alternate hand and leg. So if you're going with your left hand, you'll raise your right leg. And what you want to do is come up and hold it for a few seconds, and back down, and go with the opposite arm and leg. Now what's really important is you keep your hips nice and flat and even when you're doing it. So I'll come and do a side angle for you. So from here, my hips are staying nice and level. What I'm not doing is twisting into it. I'm staying even as I do it. So you probably want to go for about 10 on each side in this particular one. We'll move on to our next exercise. So next off, we're going to go into a plank. Now, this is a slightly harder exercise than it looks. It looks very easy if you're just going into it. So if you come into a plank, you're just here and just lying down. But there's a lot more going on than first meets the eye. So what we can see here, if you bring your hips up a little bit, there we go. So what you've got is Jo with a nice straight back all the way along. So what she's doing is tensing her back, tensing her core to keep everything in a nice straight line the whole way along. So what we want to do is go into a plank, hold it for anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute and a half, depending on how confident you feel in your abilities to do a plank. So from here, arms, you can go cross like Jo or out like mine. Raise the hips up into a nice straight line, just like this. So next up, we're going to go into sit-ups. Now this is quite a hard exercise to do, so we're going to come up with a few different variations for you to give you options to do. So we'll start off with the slightly easier ones with Jo first. Now if you come and sit over here for me, about 45-degree angle to the camera. Okay, so I would imagine most of you know what a sit-up looks like. If you don't feel you have the core strength to go straight sit-ups, what we're going to do is if Jo comes back, she's going to lift the legs up a bit, and she's going to use them as a counterweight to help sit her up. So she'll throw them forward a bit and use it to sit up. Now, if you're doing these ones, what you need to make sure is you do feel the core working. Don't just be sitting rolling. You need to make sure that there is work being done in the core. Now, it's still quite a hard exercise to do for you. Next up, we'll move on to just a standard sit-up. So from here, either hand on the ears or across the chest, knees up, and you're just coming up, elbows to knees, just like this. Now, I would say do reps of 10 to maybe 30, depending on how confident you're feeling on these. That's the standard sit-up. Then you can start bringing in slightly harder things like crunches. So from here, instead of leaving the knees where they are, hands on the ears, we're going to bring the knees and elbows together, keeping the feet off the floor at all times. Quite hard to do while speaking, I found. So just like that, and that's really hard work on the core here. So we're going to do a core exercise, which is using our legs as a weight to train the core. So what we're going to do is lie down on your back. Now, most importantly, what you need to do is pop your hands underneath your bum on the base of your spine, just to make sure that you don't cause any tilt to your pelvis. So underneath your spine, the base. Make sure you're nice and comfy, and to lay your legs out straight. What you do is you bring the feet up a few inches above the floor and just hold it for about 8 to 10 seconds. And bring them down. And you can do those in sets of 3 to 5. So up a few inches, hold it. And back down. Then what you can do if you want to go slightly harder, same idea, feet come off the floor and they go up and back down. Don't let them touch the floor. You can do them with the straight legs that I have. We can do it with bent legs like Joe has. Do those in sets of 5 to 10. Then what you have is the last most intense one. Now you will need a partner for this, if you have one. If not, don't worry about it. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but when my legs get to the top, what Joe's going to do is push them down. All I have to do is control my feet so that they don't touch the ground. Try and do it as fast as possible. Do those in sets of, again, 5 to 10. And make sure you have rest in between them. Now we're going to move on to something that's slightly more twisting in the core. So what we're going to use, we're going to sit here and we're going to use weight. Now when you're in isolation, you can use things like bottles filled with water. What's really nice is a litre of water weighs about 1 kilo, so that'll give you a nice rough estimate of the kind of weight you want to be using. So we've got a milk bottle, it's about 2 kilos of water in here. So Joe, what you're going to do, you can probably hold it end and end. What you're going to do is you're going to lift your feet up off the floor, so you're sitting in this V position, and you're going to move the bottle from side to side. Pop it on the floor on one side, put it on the floor on the other side. You're going to try and keep everything nice and steady, stable. So there's very little movement in Joe's feet, which is brilliant. And so we've got twisting in the core. Keeping everything crunched up will really work this out. It's an isometric stretch. So your core isn't really going anywhere while it's holding you in. You're starting to bring in twists. So you're working one side, then the other. This will really help with posture. Now, if you do have other things lying around, like weights, you can just up the weight on this one. You can do it just side to side, touching to begin with, as you're starting to get the idea. Bringing weights in will really help it. So I'm going to use 5 kilos. You can see here, try and keep everything nice, steady, stable. Don't rush it. Bring it up, controlled, down, controlled, the entire way. Now, if you're feeling really brave, you can move on to the really big weights. Now this one is tricky, so I won't talk while I'm doing this one. So hopefully that gives you a nice idea of some core exercises that we can do. Okay, so just to finish off, I'm going to go through a few key points to make sure you keep aware of when you're doing these exercises. So first of all, make sure you are working at your pace. Don't try and follow along with us in the video if you feel like you can't. So if you want to work a bit slower, feel free. If you want to work a bit faster, again, feel free. The second key point is make sure you're doing this with control. That's what's going to really help you with these exercises. Doing them fast is not necessarily the way. Making sure they're controlled as you do them. So on your leg raises, make sure that you're coming down with control. You're not letting the feet touch the floor. With your sit-ups, making sure you're, again, coming down with control. Quite often people will forget this and just let their feet drop or their heads drop in a sit-up. If you're nice and controlled with everything, your muscles are working the entire time. through the exercises, and you will get the absolute maximum from them. And the final point is it's quality over quantity. If you work really hard and you can't keep up with the number of sets that I've suggested, that's absolutely fine. If you're feeling like you're working, then you will be getting the most benefit out of these exercises. So work to your pace is the key point there.